Good morning, everyone. We are headed to El Paso today. It is about a 4-hour drive, and with the Mini Cooper, we should be able to do it in one tank.
Let's get Moises' birthday trip started!
This was our $500 weekend road trip to El Paso, Texas. We spent 3 days and 2 nights there in March 2021. I thought our dashcam recorded 10 hours of footage, but apparently it only records 2. So once again, this is footage of our drive back to Albuquerque. I'm making this video about a month late, partially because I'm lazy, but also because who knew running 3 businesses could be so time-consuming? El Paso has a population of 680,000 people, which is about 130,000 more people than Albuquerque. However, El Paso is the 5th safest city in the United States. Compare that to Albuquerque, which is the 10th most dangerous city in the country. El Paso wasn't always so safe though. Before it became known as the Sun City, El Paso was known as the 6-shooter capital. When the railroads first arrived in the 1880s, El Paso was one of the wildest places in the Wild West. El Paso saw the likes of Billy the Kid, Bass Outlaw, John Selman, and more. While Albuquerque is home to the very first Hilton Hotel, now known as the Andaluz Hotel, El Paso is home to the first high-rise Hilton Hotel, now known as the Plaza Hotel, which opened its doors in 1930. El Paso is also believed to be the birthplace of the margarita in 1945 at Tommy's Place Bar. Anyways, the first thing we did was check into our Airbnb. We stayed out in Horizon City, which is just outside of El Paso. This Airbnb was much bigger and cheaper than any that we found in El Paso, plus it had some neat amenities like a hot tub. I think Horizon City is a great up-and-coming city that is ripe for investment, and I'll go over some financials for our Airbnb that back this up later in the video. After dropping off our stuff, we headed to Topgolf El Paso. We hit a few balls and had a couple of appetizers to fuel up after driving all day. Our healthy meal included french fries and fried mac and cheese bites, which were both amazing. Then we headed to the El Paso outlet malls, where it was clear that stimulus checks had started hitting bank accounts. Yami has been looking forward to shopping here for months. I don't think there's any reason to shop full price at malls when the outlet stores have everything on discount year-round. It just means that the discount price is the real price, and the mall price is an inflated price only paid by chumps. El Paso is definitely doing malls better than us because they have a Mexican junk food stand, and they have a bar where you can pick up a drink to take around the mall with you. We left the mall at 6, which is when most of El Paso starts closing down. We picked up LJ's Pizza, which is basically just an upgraded and fancier Little Caesars. Then we headed back to the house and settled in for the night.
We just left the Airbnb bright and early at 11 a.m. and we picked up some burritos from Cristomo's Burritos. It's a local chain here in El Paso, and they look pretty good. Fresh tortillas, smell great, and you know the food's gonna be good when you pull up and they're speaking to you in Spanish even though you're white.
After breakfast, we headed over to La Casa de Azúcar, or the Sugar House. Sugar art is a Mexican art style used to honor the dead, and it's most commonly seen on El Día de los Muertos on sugar skulls. This whole house was decorated in that same art style. After buying his house over 60 years ago, Rufino Loya didn't think that his house felt like home. So starting in 1973, he worked for 25 years decorating his house after he promised his wife that he would build her something beautiful. Even more impressive, he's never had any architectural training and he's never worked in construction. After that, we went to the municipal rose garden. Unfortunately, it wasn't rose season, so it was more of a bush garden. Yami still took advantage and got some new pictures of her products. If you're in El Paso, then you are required to try Chicos Tacos.
What the hell's Chicos?
It's definitely the kind of place that you're either gonna love or hate, but everything is so cheap that it's worth trying. Plus they have an old school Coca-Cola menu board, which to me is a clear sign that the food's gonna be great. After drinking a taco, we went to the Chihuahua Desert Gardens at UT El Paso. There we got to see all the same plants that we saw on the side of the freeway on our way to El Paso. We walked the downtown area and took a look around the plaza and all the surrounding buildings and murals. We drove past the border with Mexico and stopped at Frontera Churros, which is just a couple of blocks away from the border. We picked up a gansito flavored churro and a s'more flavored churro. Highly recommend them. Then, since this was a vacation after all, we headed back to the house to relax.
My birthday falls on World Water Day, so definitely make sure that you're drinking your water.
I'm a big fan of MSG, also known as legal crack, so instead of blowing our entire budget on a fancy dinner, we got some food that actually tastes good from China Wok. Since we were celebrating, I had a bottle of beer that my dad brewed for my 21st birthday, and we picked up a bottle of martini wine, which is made in the same city I grew up in. Both paired great with Chinese food. Then we went to sleep at a reasonable hour of the night. The next day, we had brunch at L&J Cafe, which tasted incredible. Then we decided that we couldn't leave town without picking up a pizza from JV's to take home. This turned out to be a huge mistake because we had to smell pizza on our whole 4-hour drive back home. Google Maps decided to route us through Radium Springs and around the I-25 Border Patrol checkpoint, but it turns out they still have a tiny checkpoint there, and they were pretty weirded out that we were there. On our way through Radium Springs, we got to see a lot of piñón and green chili farms. Then we passed by a huge warehouse that said chili out front, and we had to stop since our favorite ingredient to cook with is pain. They were also weirded out that we were there.
So it turns out it's a chili processing and manufacturing plant, and this is also where they ship it out. You can really smell the green chili and red chili from all the way outside. It smells incredible, but they wouldn't let us take a tour, unfortunately.
And that's our trip to El Paso. Before I dive into the cost of this trip, I want to briefly talk about Horizon City. I'm a relatively new real estate investor, and I'm always looking for new opportunities. To me, it looks like Horizon City is ripe for investment for anyone looking to invest in that region of Texas. Prices there are lower than El Paso, and there's still tons of open area waiting to be developed. There's a lot of construction going on, and right now most of the businesses there are just national chains. It's just waiting on more local businesses to move in and capitalize on the city's growth. Since I'm a finance nerd, I did some number crunching to figure out the profitability of the Airbnb we stayed in. The average home value in the development is $250,000, and we'll assume they put 6% down or $15,000. At a 3.5% interest rate, their monthly mortgage payment is $1,055, plus another $149 for their mortgage insurance. Let's assume they spent the average of $30,000 to furnish the house, and that brings the total cash out of pocket to $45,000. On average, Airbnbs are booked 48% of the time, and they rent theirs for $105 per night. That means that they would be making $1,575 per month off of their house. But on top of that, they built a studio apartment in their garage, which they rent separately for $60 a month. So we'll assume that brings them another $900 a month. On average, utilities in El Paso are about $100 per month. That means that every single month, they are making $1,171 in profit. That's over $14,000 per year. That translates to a 31% return on investment on their original $45,000 of startup costs. Then on top of that, you have property appreciation and built-up equity. Compare that to an average 10% return in the stock market. But enough of that nerd shit. On this trip, after all the fees and taxes, our Airbnb came out to $296.69. With the Mini Cooper, we averaged 31 miles per gallon, and we used 23.5 gallons of gas. Gas prices have kept increasing since January. I couldn't tell you why, but we ended up using $65.33 worth of gas. Then we spent another $162.17 on food and entertainment. That brings the total cost of this trip to $524.19. We went over our $500 budget, but we had a good time, we ate a lot of good food, and we got to spend a lot of time together. I would rather spend those $24 on our trip having new experiences and making new memories than spending it on just about anything else. If there's one thing that growing up in a doomsday cult taught me, it's that you really don't know how much time you have left. You can make your money back, but you can never get your time back, and I don't think that that's talked about enough in the finance community. That's why I want to show you that you can still have great experiences and make new memories without spending a ton of money. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to upload every week, but it's been over a month since my last video now. I blinked and the month of March just flew by. But now that my workload is stabilizing again, I'm going to try to get back to one upload per week. So thank you for watching my video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Where would you travel on a $500 budget? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to drink your water, and I'll see you on the next video.